Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm finally completed my deck, my red and black blue modern beatdown deck. It's a mid-range deck, plays all around, that involves doing massive damage, using card effect damage, as well as playing a lot of lands. And I'll be happy to do a thorough analysis of this deck while I'm in the middle of this profile. So hopefully you enjoy, and yeah, getting straight to the video. So starting off, like I said in probably one of my previous videos, you want to max out on Vexing Devil, simply because this deck rolls on, like I mentioned, doing massive burn damage and easy to summon with you only using one red. Has a power of 4, has a toughness of 3. Also, I prefer to max out on Falmar Knight. An outstanding card, has Death Touch. It also only requires 1 black. Plus, you can pretty much, it gives you the consistency you need. And although it's weak, it has uses because you want to start the game early, strong. Another card you want to start strong with, a max copy of Gifted Aetherborn. Has the same thing but with lifelink. Plus requires 2 black mana, and with the power of 2 and a toughness of 3, a card that's willing to give you life and Death Touch is very useful because it keeps you on the edge of the duel, and chances are like you either might make a comeback or you have a chance of killing your opponent and changing the lead as quickly as possible, and it makes a huge difference. Maxing out on another big strong monster, the Bone Crusher Giant, has a really powerful effect with its stomp. The ability to simply deal, like playing pretty much has zone shock ability by using the ability stomp, dealing 2 to your opponent, and they cannot prevent any further damage. And does even more damage because not only does it have the power of 4 and a toughness of 3, anytime it gets targeted by a spell, it inflicts 2 damage to that controller. The ace monster of the deck, and the most outstanding card of my deck, and the most scariest, Desecration Demon. A lot of people should know has flying, a power of 6, as well as a toughness 6. Basically, the effect, although the effect makes no sense because it just keeps getting stronger, and then be pointless for your opponent to even use the effect, especially if they have to. But it's like it's always a bad decision should be one of your monsters because pretty much he just keeps getting 1/1. Furthermore, another 6 beater, Scorpion God. He requires a mana of 5, but he has a power of 6, but a toughness of 5. He is good because you'll figure that not only does he weaken your opponent's monsters, he keeps reviving every time he gets destroyed. Although might not occur as much, it's always there to come in handy. And speaking of a creature that can come back, Scarab God. This card is phenomenal. Just banishing either creature in my graveyard on my opponent, simply because not only does it inflict even more damage with its burn effect, it allows you to summon a zombie as well and scry, because if I scry, I can pretty much determine what cards I get on top of my hand or the top of my deck, and then once I draw, it's like it could be a game changer for me. A lot more easier for things when I do them. And starting with Planeswalkers, 2 Chandra, simply because it allows you to add more mana and consistency, and it's one of those cards that I feel you have to play in this deck. Another very powerful Planeswalker, Necrobolus the Dragon God. I'm sure at the time he was very pricey. I was able to get him for, lucky enough, I was able to get him for cheap, around both one for $15, one around $10. And wow, he's just an outstanding card as well because he just allows you to draw a card and your opponent is forced to bench, and even though they choose, it does a lot, as well as like even if I even decide I can -3, pop a card, a monster creature or Planeswalker on the field, meaning that he ensures that what can I do to kill my opponent or what I can get rid of to hurt my opponent as much as possible. And plus, if I control legendary and my opponent doesn't, he auto wins you the game. So I feel like you want to see him as much as possible. So 2 would be the right number. 3 more than that is like bricky. So a non-bricky card, a card that isn't bricky, is 4 lightning bolt. Everyone should know. 1 red, deals 3 damage to either creature or player. Another very consistent card. Opt. Requires 1 blue, allows you to scry, you draw a card. And on our 2 enchantments, Theater of Horrors, basically acts like my 4. The 2 act like my 4 Chandra, but at the same time deal 1 damage. Even then, forced to exile during my upkeep helps a lot. And then we play the triple mountain, 2 swamps, 1 island, 4 bloodstained mire. Finally, it's been a while since I've had fetches. My previous deck had none, and that's why I'm going with 6, because now I'm playing also 2 polluted delta, and then shocklands, blood crypt, and then the second one, final one, watery graves. What else? And then we're playing 3 Blackleaf Cliffs, simply because I want to start off strong. Dragon Skull Simon, simply because I'm playing a lot of swamps. I'm playing 2 shocklands that evolve around this card, as well as the 2 swamps with the 3 mountains, 2 sulfur falls, the same thing. Dragon Catacomb, 2 double Dragon Catacomb, the same thing. And Castle and Breath. Now this is a handy tech card, simply because this ensures that I win the game on the next turn, especially depending how much life my opponent has. This pretty much concludes the duel a lot more faster, depending on my field. If I have a lot of creatures, it's very worth it. And if I have a creature with big stats, definitely worth it. And then finish with the main deck, starting with the side deck. Bantu's Last Reckoning to blow up creatures on the field. Solitating Suns, doing the same thing but against weaker creatures. This card is important. Relic of Progenitus, forcing players to exile cards from their graveyard and allowing me to draw a card. Mainly because graveyard, especially during my local duels, my opponents tend to use the graveyard, and it does become an issue. 3 bait, simply because you want to kill as many creatures, and then anything that applies with artifacts is also a very good matchup against those decks. And then a new card that I added, I'm maxing out on Thought Erasure, simply because this is a great card going second, allowing me to discard any card that isn't a land for the cost of 1 blue, 1 black, and allows me to surveil. Even though that's not useful, it allows me to look at the top card to see whether I choose to put in the graveyard. Fatal Push, double copies. Some people might say not be the best, but I think it's mandatory depending how quick their deck is. Another mandatory card is, and the final card, Cut and Rose. It's a split with the mana of 1 mana, 1 red. It deals 4 damage to the target creature. And its other effect is involving Ribbon, where I use the converted mana and I use double black. This ensures that depending on how much life my opponent has, I want to ensure I kill them at the very moment. I want to give them time. I want to make sure I have the chance of actually killing them. And if the converted mana is equal to their life, it's pretty much game over. And hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. I might have been I might have been a little bit confusing during the deck profile. I hope maybe you guys can correct me if anything, if I've said anything that I misheard or I misunderstand. But like, I appreciate the views, the likes, and I'm not forcing anyone to. But yeah, the deck profile was fun. I do really enjoy this deck. In my opinion, this is my favorite deck. I would not change it whatsoever. And hopefully you guys can express your opinions on how I feel about this deck, and yeah, give me any tips, correct me what I've said throughout this video, and yeah, have a good day.